Hi, I'm Dr. David Dow, and we're here in our X-ray room today at Dow Chiropractic and Acupuncture. And I want to answer a question that I get from people so often is, how can acupuncture help with anxiety? Now, the truth is, a lot of times problems that people get with anxiety relate to a physical problem, and they just don't even realize it. Now, stress can also accumulate in the body and build up over time, but so can those physical stresses. They can build up over time as well. So what we see is everybody's different. So I always like to kind of see is what your situation is like. And I want to check and make sure you don't have those physical type of problems there. Now, at the very basic level, our nervous system is made up of an important component called the autonomic nervous system, which is basically all the nerves in your body that work without you having to think about it. And on one hand, we have our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight system. And on the other side, we have our parasympathetic, which are the calming hormones. And we need to have lots of those calming hormones because that helps us to deal with stress. When we run out of those calming hormones, then our body has to use the adrenaline and the cortisol from the fight or flight system. And adrenaline is okay for short bursts. You know, if you're being chased by a mountain lion, you need that adrenaline to get away from the mountain lion, but then you want that to turn off and you want to go back to those parasympathetics right after that. But what happens with so many people is after an injury, and the areas that relate the strongest to the parasympathetics are going to be up at the base of the skull or in the lower back and the sacrum area. And those nerves are the strongest parasympathetics. So often what we'll see is people may have had an injury either to the neck or the upper neck, maybe a concussion, some type of head injury. And usually they'll have other symptoms that go with that. Those nerves up there are mostly going to be our senses. So it's going to be seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting. So problems with the eyes, ears, nose or throat, sinuses, but also our sense of balance and our sense of coordination. And what that means is our posture might not look very good, or our joints might not be moving correctly. So we might start to develop joint problems kind of all over our body, sort of out of the blue, and nobody has an answer for that. But I want to show you that there is a reason for that and an answer for it, and kind of go through that with you right now. But the more damage we see to those parasympathetic nerves, usually more of a problem we're going to see with that fight or flight. And and this is where the anxiety comes from. When your body is releasing adrenaline, it feels like anxiousness or nervousness. When you feel that adrenaline coming out all the time, it creates anxiety, nervous sensation. And what can happen is over time, that bucket of adrenaline can start to run out. And when it finally runs out, usually our body's shut down and it can turn into depression. And that's not good either. So as we lay in bed for 2 or 3 days, those buckets can start to fill back up again. And hopefully the calming buckets are filling up really good. But again, if there's a lot of damage to the neck or the low back, then maybe those are not filling up the way that they're supposed to. So I always like to take x-rays to check to see if there's any damage in those areas. And that allows me to see how you're going to heal fast or slow, because we've helped a lot of people with anxiety and depression by dealing with the physical aspect of it. And really what we want to do is get the pressure off of those nerves. And so how acupuncture can help with that is by stimulating those points in those areas. It's like it's letting the pressure out of that area. It's like the energy accumulates over time and it builds up pressure. So it's like energy trapped inside of a bubble. And what we can do is take those needles and pop the bubble, let the energy escape, and then you get that relief right away, and those hormones get released. But at the same time, I don't see acupuncture usually as the cause of, or as actually treating the cause of the problem. It's sort of like if your roof is leaking, your basement's filling up with water, and the drain is clogged, and the water's filling up in the basement. Acupuncture opens the drain, lets the water out of the basement, but it doesn't fix the cause of the problem. It doesn't fix that leak. So if there's bones pressing against those nerves, or if you're slouching really bad and that's putting pressure against those nerves, those things have to get corrected so that your body doesn't just feel better for a few days. You can start to feel better for weeks and for months. And that's if we can find the cause of the problem, that's where it's going to really help the most. And that's what I would want for all my patients, and that I would like you to discover for yourself. Now, if you've got further questions, we love questions. Feel free to give us a call. And we're here at Dow Chiropractic and Acupuncture. Our number is 608-233-3588. And Celeste and I can answer your calls. And thank you for watching.